Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Wendy Couts, Distinguished Toastmasters here. I have been sitting here with my good friend Claude talking about Toastmasters. Claude's been asking me why we use so many acronyms and what they mean. Acronyms, as you know, are just shortcut or abbreviations to help us say or write things in a shorter manner than we would if we wrote them all out. So let's talk about some of the Toastmaster acronyms that we use and what they mean. Let me share a screen with you. Currently, our education program is called Pathways. It's divided up into 13 distinct paths. Each path has 5 levels. There are 3 to 5 speeches in each level. When you complete a level, you get awarded a designation, which is the most recent designation is put after your name in official Toastmasters documents. And the paths are defined by the 2-letter abbreviation that for the 2 words that describe the path. DL, Dynamic Leadership, EC, Effective Coaching. And then there's a number after those 2 letters. DL 1, Dynamic Leadership 1, EC 5, Effective Coaching, Level 5, so on. Pretty straightforward. You will see some other abbreviations after people's names that represent the education system that we used to use. There were 2 tracks in that education system, the communication and the leadership. Communication started with the CC, Competent Communicator, and then the Advanced Communicators, Bronze, Silver, and Gold, the Competent Leader, CL, and then Advanced Communicators, Bronze, and Silver. Then we have the Leadership Excellence Series, LD, Leadership Excellence, LDRECT. That is your High Performance Leadership Project. When one completed all of those levels, they could be awarded the Distinguished Toastmaster. Distinguished Toastmaster still exists with Pathways. To become a Distinguished Toastmaster under Pathways, the Toastmaster must complete all 5 levels in 2 paths, plus a series of other assignments that would include district officer, such things as being a coach, a sponsor, a mentor, and doing a Distinguished Toastmaster project. If you want more detail on the exact requirements, I suggest you look at the form for Distinguished Toastmaster. We have some other abbreviations that we use. For the structure of Toastmasters, we have our leadership designations. Starting from the big picture, we have the International Director and the International President, ID and IP. Our Region Advisors are A, or Regional Director, RD. Our District Director, DD. Our Program Quality Director, PQD. Our Club Growth Director, CGD. Now the District Director, Program Quality, and Club Growth Director are all at our district level, and we'll get into that in just a moment. Then we have our Division Directors. It can be abbreviated as D, and then a letter that signifies the division and another D, or just capital D, little IV, capital D for Division Director. And then Area Director. Area Director usually has a number following it to indicate that this person is area director for area 12 or area 32. Now let's digress from our abbreviations for just a moment so that we can talk about these levels within Toastmasters. It's really pretty simple. And a real simple graphic, just a bullseye. What this bullseye represents is, at the center of it is the member, you and me. 8 to 30, usually, people combine to create a club. Pretty simple. 4 to 6 clubs join together to create an area. The area is generally in the same city or close by cities. Sometimes there's more than one area in a city. Now the area has an area director. That area director helps them to create their officer training, to do they're responsible for the area contest. We have one per year. Areas combine together, 3 or more, into divisions. Here in Montana, it's easy to remember division because our divisions divide the state into divisions A and B. North Dakota is C and D. South Dakota is E and F. There are a few clubs in Minnesota that are in the western part of Minnesota that are part of Division D. Now our divisions combine together, currently we have 6 of them, into a district. We are District 78, which is Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, 10 counties in Minnesota, and 1 county in Wyoming. Currently, there are no clubs in that county in Wyoming. Now, one thing that differs with the district from the other levels is that the district gets funding from Toastmasters International. A portion of our dues, yours and mine, goes to the district to help them with the costs for advertising, publicity, putting on training, augmenting our contests, the various things required to keep the Toastmasters organization going at a more local level. Second to last outer ring is region. There are currently 14 regions in Toastmasters International. We are Region 4. Let's look at a graphic from Toastmasters. Region 4 is, as you can see, there's several districts within Region 4. There are additional districts within Region 4 that are in Canada. 4 Canadian regions, 4 Canadian districts. And let's get back to the other screen. 6 US districts. You can see that some of the districts are quite a bit smaller than ours. Ours is one of the largest ones, simply because we are sparsely populated states and do not have as many clubs. Region 6 has some much larger District 6 has some much larger cities that have a higher concentration of clubs. Our region advisor works predominantly with our district officers to help them make sure that we are doing things correctly within the Toastmaster system. They're also our voice on the international board. And that brings me back to that final circle on our ring, which is international. So we are part of the whole, part of an international organization. As I said, the abbreviations simply help us to identify the different levels, and they help us keep things straight. Let's look at a couple other that we have going on. Within our clubs, we have our 7 club offices. Each one has a distinct role. President, of course, is the one in charge of the whole club. The vice president for education is one who puts together our schedules. Membership helps bring in new members and get them up to date. Public relations handles our public relations and advertising. Secretary, treasurer, sergeant of arms, I think are all self-explanatory. Sergeant of arms has a greater role when we are meeting in person than when we are doing online presentations, because they are responsible for keeping track of all our physical properties. We've got a number of roles in every meeting. Each of those roles has an abbreviation. This list does not include all of them, but many that you'll see quite a bit. The main reason we use abbreviations for the meeting roles is simply when you're setting up a schedule, it becomes rather cumbersome to write out general evaluator, Toastmaster, table topics master each time. So you simply use the two or 3 letter abbreviation. Some of the most common: GE, General Evaluator, TM, Toastmaster, TTM, Table Topics Master. Of course, speaker would be SP, which could be 1, 2, 3, however many speakers you have in a given day. I've included WOD for word of the day in this list because that's an important part of every meeting. We like to challenge ourselves to use new words that we normally don't, or to improve our use of a common word. We'll identify a word, our grammarian will identify a word and challenge everyone to try to incorporate that into their presentations on that given day. Additionally, I suggest, if you were unable to use the word, if you just happen to like it, for the next day or 2, try to incorporate it in your everyday speech. That way you can expand your personal vocabulary. Then I have a few just general abbreviations that you will see. Accredited speaker and accredited speaker program. There's a program within Toastmasters that gives recognition for people who are working toward or becoming professional speakers. The accredited speaker program, there's a whole series of requirements. It involves a certain number of volunteer presentations and paid presentations. My next is Chief Judge, CJ. When we have speech contests, this becomes very important. Our Chief Judge is the one who is responsible for keeping the judging rules, the forms, making sure all of that is done in proper fashion, and helping to ensure that we have a fair contest for all the speakers involved. District Council. District Council is where people from the clubs throughout our district get together to make decisions for our district. Remember, we mentioned before that the district has a certain amount of money that they can spend. This is the people that help determine how that's spent and keep everyone accountable. District council is comprised of the presidents and educational vice presidents from all of the clubs within the district. Then we have a district executive committee as well. That's our area and division directors. They make some overhead rules, will help set calendar for the district, things of that nature. We have our Distinguished Club Program. The Distinguished Club Program is a series of 10 goals that each club tries to meet. We can, in doing our working the learning program, we should be able to meet many of those goals without having to put a particular focus on them. They just reflect that we are working with the program. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Simply a tool to help clubs determine what they're doing well, what they can do better. Kind of self-explanatory. I know I've skipped over a few as I've gone along. Then we have the World Championship of Public Speaking. The contests I spoke about before. We have the International Speech Contest every year. It goes all the way from club through international. The person who wins at the final contest is deemed the World Champion of Public Speaking for that year. This is a high honor. The individual has gone through and done better in contests than many other speakers in that given year. Some of the best speeches that you will find, you'll hear from our World Champion of Public Speaking. It's also a great thing for an individual who wants to be a professional speaker to have on their resume. I know this has been a lot of information in a fairly short amount of time. I hope it's been helpful for you. I will make the list of acronyms available to everyone. Let me just check with my counterpart over here and see if he thinks it's been helpful. My friend Claude, what do you think? Did this help you understand a little bit better how Toastmasters is put together and how we talk about ourselves and what the acronyms are? Claude says yes, it did. Hopefully it helped you as well. Thank you and good day.